Every time you visit a website, you probably notice this tiny lock icon in your browser's address bar. It's easy to ignore, but behind that lock, something remarkable just happened. In the fraction of a second before this page loaded, your browser and the server had a secret conversation. They agreed on an encryption key, without ever having met before, without anyone else being able to figure out that key, even if someone was recording every single byte of the exchange. This is the TLS handshake. It's the cryptographic protocol that secures virtually every HTTPS connection on the internet, and it happens billions of times a day in under 100 milliseconds. So how do two computers that have never communicated before agree on a shared secret over a completely public network without anyone else being able to crack it? Let's find out. To understand why TLS matters, let's look at what happens without it. With plain HTTP, your data travels across the network completely unencrypted, in clear text, readable by anyone. When you type your password into a login form, that password travels through routers, switches, and cables as plain text. Your credit card number, your private messages, all of it out in the open. And anyone sitting on the same network, a hacker at your coffee shop, a compromised router, even your internet provider, can read every byte. This is called a man-in-the-middle attack, and with plain HTTP, it's trivially easy. This is the problem TLS solves. It wraps your entire HTTP conversation inside an encrypted tunnel. The data still travels through the same routers and cables, but now it's scrambled, unreadable to everyone except the intended recipient. Let's see how that tunnel gets built. Before we dive into the details, let's get the big picture. The TLS 1.3 handshake is a carefully choreographed exchange between your browser, the client, and the web server. It happens in 4 steps. First, the client sends a ClientHello message, proposing encryption options, and it's half of a key exchange. Second, the server responds with a ServerHello, picking the encryption algorithm and sending its own key share, along with its digital certificate. Third, both sides independently compute a shared secret from the key exchange. And fourth, they confirm everything worked by exchanging encrypted finished messages. After that, the encrypted tunnel is live. Here's what's remarkable. In TLS 1.3, this entire negotiation happens in just one round trip. The client sends, the server responds, and encrypted data can start flowing immediately. All of this in under 100 milliseconds. Now let's zoom into each step. The handshake begins when the client sends a ClientHello message. Think of it as the client walking up to the server and saying, "Here's what I can do, pick your favorite." Inside this message are several important fields. First, the TLS version. The client says, "I support TLS 1.3. Second, a list of cipher suites. These are the encryption algorithms the client knows, like AES 256 GCM or Cha-Cha 20 Poly 1305. It's essentially a menu of options. Third, and this is crucial, the client includes a key share. This is the client's half of the Diffie-Hellman key exchange. We'll explain this magic in detail soon, but for now, just know the client is already sending its piece of the puzzle. Finally, the client includes 32 bytes of random data. This randomness ensures every handshake is unique, preventing attackers from replaying old conversations. With that, the ClientHello flies across the network to the server. The server receives the ClientHello and sends back its response, the ServerHello. The server looks at the client's menu of cipher suites and picks one. Let's say it chooses AES 256 GCM, a fast and secure encryption algorithm. The server also sends its own key share, it's half of the Diffie-Hellman exchange. Now both sides have each other's key share, and the magic can happen. But there's a critical piece still missing. How does the client know it's actually talking to the real server and not an imposter? This is where the digital certificate comes in. The server sends its certificate, a digital document that contains the server's domain name, its public key, and a cryptographic signature from a trusted certificate authority. Think of it as a digital passport, stamped and signed by a trusted government. The client will verify this signature to make sure the server is who it claims to be. Now for the heart of TLS. How do two parties agree on a shared secret when anyone could be listening? This is the Diffie-Hellman key exchange, and it's one of the most elegant ideas in cryptography. Let's use an analogy. Imagine both the client and the server start with the same public color of paint. Everyone can see this color. Now, each side has their own secret color that they never reveal. The client mixes the public color with its secret color and sends the mixture to the server. The server does the same, mixing the public color with its secret color and sending the result to the client. An eavesdropper can see both mixtures, but cannot unmix them to extract the secret colors. Now here's the magic. The client takes the server's mixture and adds its own secret color. The server takes the client's mixture and adds its own secret color, and they both arrive at the exact same final color, the shared secret. Mathematically, this works with modular exponentiation. The shared secret equals g to the power a times b, mod p, and this value is computationally impossible to derive from the public values alone. Even someone recording every byte of the exchange cannot crack it. We know the server sends a certificate, but how does the client actually verify it? The answer is a chain of trust. A certificate isn't just a claim, it's cryptographically signed. The server's certificate is signed by an intermediate certificate authority, or CA. That intermediate CA's certificate is itself signed by a root CA. And the root CA's certificate is pre-installed in your browser or operating system. When the client receives the server's certificate, it walks up this chain. It checks the server certificate's signature using the intermediate CA's public key. Then it checks the intermediate signature using the root CA's public key. If every signature checks out and the root is in the browser's trusted store, the certificate is valid. This is how trust works on the internet. Your browser ships with about 150 trusted root certificates from organizations like DigiCert, Let's Encrypt, and Google Trust Services. Every HTTPS connection you make traces back to one of these roots. If any link in the chain is broken, your browser will show you a warning. With the shared secret established through Diffie-Hellman, both sides are now ready to derive the actual encryption keys. But they don't use the shared secret directly. Instead, they feed it into a key derivation function called HKDF. HKDF takes the shared secret and produces 4 separate keys. A client-write key for encrypting data from client to server, a server-write key for the other direction, and 2 initialization vectors, one for each direction. Having separate keys for each direction adds an extra layer of security. Now, both sides send a finished message, encrypted with these brand new keys. This is the final confirmation. If both sides can decrypt each other's finished message, it proves the handshake succeeded and the keys match. And with that, the TLS handshake is complete. From this point forward, every HTTP request, every response, every byte of data flows through the encrypted tunnel. The lock icon appears in your browser. The connection is secure. Everything we've described so far is TLS 1.3, released in 2018. But its predecessor, TLS 1.2, worked quite differently. Let's compare them. The biggest change is speed. TLS 1.2 required 2 round trips to complete the handshake. The client and server had to exchange messages back and forth twice before encrypted data could flow. TLS 1.3 cuts this to just 1 round trip by having the client send its key share in the very first message. TLS 1.3 also removed dangerous legacy options. RSA key exchange is gone. With RSA, if an attacker ever stole the server's private key, they could decrypt all past recorded conversations. TLS 1.3 mandates ephemeral Diffie-Hellman for every connection, guaranteeing forward secrecy. Old sessions stay safe even if the key is compromised later. Other removals include CBC mode ciphers and TLS compression, both of which had known vulnerabilities. TLS 1.3 is a leaner, faster, and more secure protocol. And today, It's used by the majority of encrypted connections on the web. Let's put it all together. The client sends a client hello with its cipher suites and key share. The server responds with its choices, its key share, and its certificate. Both sides perform the Diffie-Hellman exchange, arriving at the same shared secret without ever sending it over the wire. They derive session keys and exchange encrypted finished messages to confirm everything worked. And just like that, in a single round trip, the encrypted tunnel is live. Every byte of data is now protected. Passwords, messages, financial transactions, all secured by the math we just explored. Next time you see that little lock icon in your browser, you'll know exactly what happened behind the scenes. A secret negotiation, completed in milliseconds, that keeps your data safe from anyone who might be listening. Thanks for watching. If this helped you understand TLS, consider liking and subscribing for more deep dives into the technology that powers the internet.